Does anybody like pizza?
Yes.
Ah, good. I thought there might be a few pizza lovers in this evening, but what I want to know is how much do you like pizza? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I cannot stand the stuff, 10 being it is mankind's single greatest invention, how much do you like pizza? Has everybody got a number?
7.
Oh, shouting out. Oh. Okay, if you said 5 or less, I'm guessing you're probably fairly ambivalent about pizza, but that's okay. You're among friends. Do you have any 6s and 7s? We had a few 7s, some more 6s, 7s, maybe an 8. Yeah, solid pizza people, that's what I like to see. Any 9s and 10s? Yeah, you can always tell the 10s, the hands go up so quickly. And did anybody say 11? No, that was just me, was it? Is it only my pizza oven that goes all the way up to 11? So, whilst my rock and roll days of excess are definitely behind me, I do still quite like pizza. So it might surprise you to know that recently I said no to pizza. Not once, not twice, but about 30 times in 60 minutes. Let me explain. I was at this bland conference centre, and actually no, it did have one redeeming feature. It was right next to the motorway. And I was speaking after lunch, so I was getting to know people during the lunch break, and this is basically what happened. Hi, I'm Duncan. Oh, hi, Duncan. Would you like some pizza? No, thanks, I'm fine. And then we'd have a bit of a chit-chat, and I'll move on to the next group. Hi, I'm Duncan. Hello, Duncan, would you like some pizza? No, thanks, I'm fine. And then we'd have a chit-chat. I'll move on to the next group. Hi, I'm Duncan. Hello, Duncan, would you... You get the idea, right? I said no to pizza an awful lot that day. Which might make you wonder, how did you do that, Duncan? Well, actually, have a think about that for a moment. How did I do that? What skills, abilities, attributes do you think I used to say no to pizza? Willpower. Yeah, I mean, I am guessing some of you are thinking willpower. I'm guessing some of you are probably thinking self-control. Maybe some of you are even thinking wrought iron, Olympic ninja discipline. Now, if you've ever eaten pizza, which our earlier survey suggests you might have done, you probably know that it makes you feel kind of heavy, doesn't it? You don't need me to tell you that it makes you tired, that it sort of saps your energy. But it might surprise you to learn that there is an increasing body of evidence that suggests that junk food like pizza actually impedes your concentration and ruins your memory. So think about that for a second. Energy plus focus equals, well, it's pretty much everything, isn't it? You know, if you want to get anything done, energy plus focus equals productivity. If you've got a difficult problem, energy plus focus equals creativity. If you just want to go and have fun in the park with your family, energy plus focus equals presence. So you probably want to increase your energy and your focus, so maybe you want to rein in the junk food a little bit. But, as we know, that requires willpower, self-control, wrought iron, Olympic ninja discipline. Or at least that is what we've been told, isn't it? But the beautiful truth is that if you want to say no to pizza or junk food or any kind of alcohol, you don't need willpower, self-control, or any kind of discipline. What you need are 3 things. Now, over the course of the next 30-ish minutes, I want to share those 3 things with you. And I hope that sounds okay, because I haven't got anything else planned. So, as with so many of these things, it started when I was a child. And how would I describe myself as a child? Yep, pretty much like that. Tempting as it is, I'm not going to make you look at that slide all evening. Let's try another one. Well, it's got a little bit of an R, never mind. So yes, I don't know what your school was like. Maybe it was like my school. My school was full of artwork that only a mother could love, and children that even she was struggling with. And I walked into school that morning and there was my teacher, Mr. Gannett. Mr. Gannett, thinning hair, beady eyes, face dominated by a beak. And actually thinking about it, he probably had quite an unfortunate surname. And he asked us to write a poem. And I was excited about that. Now, I know, that is the kind of assignment that fills the average schoolboy full of terror, but not me. I was pumped. I was ready to go. I was one of the cool kids, you can tell, that's fine. So I got to my desk and I wrote that poem down really, really quickly. I think it might have been a case of premature alliteration. So I wrote it down and I took it up to Mr. Bird. Apparently, it was too scruffy. Back to the desk. Wrote it out really neatly. You could read it and everything. Still too scruffy. Back to the desk. Best handwriting. Full concentration. I even did a pattern around the edge. It wasn't a bad poem. I put a lot of myself into that poem. I put a lot of emotion into that poem, and I don't think it was bad. But Mr. Gannett never knew that because he never even read it. So I trudged out of the classroom. I was downcast, dejected, depressed. And then in the corridor, my best friend Hank said, "Come on, Duncan, follow me." So I followed him. We went down the corridor, out the door, across the playing field, across the sports area, into the trees behind the school, into a mystical sunlit bower. And I finally caught up with him. "What is it, Hank?" "I know what's going to cheer you up." And he pulled from his pocket a tinfoil wrapped hunk of Shangri-La. And as I stared down at that intoxicating boulder, my eyes opened wide with desire and delight. I reached out and snapped off a small piece of chocolate, put it in my mouth. And my problems just disappeared. It was as if the school was 1,000 miles away. As if that lunchtime bell wasn't going to ring for 1,000 hours. As if Mr. Gannett was in another dimension. That was the day that I learned that you can solve all of your problems with chocolate. But of course, I grew up and I got into music and clothes and girls, actually mostly girls. And that was how I found myself in an empty warehouse full of blazing music, buzzing lights, and sweating bodies. And I was petrified. "Hank, what am I going to do?" "Have a beer, man." So I had a beer. Actually, I had a couple. And all of a sudden, I started to feel different. I started to walk with a bit of Britpop swagger. I started to have a touch of Cool Britannia. There was even some zigga-zigga going on. And I made my way onto the dance floor. The people parted. And there she was, my muse in Dr. Martens. Her hair was blonde like ripe wheat. Her eyes were blue like the azure sea. Her lips were red like a pack of Marlboro. I danced up to her. "You like this song?" "Yeah." That's cool. "Yeah." "Do you want to go for a walk?" "I've got lager." "Yeah." Tsk. Confidence in a can. When you really need to get there faster than a bloke on a moped, except no substitutes. Yes, that was when I learned that if I really needed to solve my problems, alcohol. But of course, the party doesn't last forever, does it? And I found myself kicked out into the really real world. And I wasn't really sure what to do with myself, you know. I wasn't sure where to go or what to do. So I asked an old friend. I said, what should I do? And they said, well, you're very good at communicating, aren't you? Yeah, I am. And you're very good with people, aren't you? Yeah, I am. And you always know what's going on, don't you? Yeah, I do. So you can sign this paper saying you're willing to stand for the local council. What just happened? Yeah, that is how I got into the highly rock and roll world of local government. And, you know, I was fairly good at it. I progressed, I made my way up the tree, and I fairly soon became a disturbingly young mayor. And that was great because, you know, I got invited to all of these very interesting events, many of which had free buffets and excellent bars. So that was nice. And, you know, I really got into the job. It was really, really enjoyable. There was lots going on. It was fun. Oh, sorry. I thought I'd put it on silent. Hello? You'd like me to give some campaign medals to some soldiers coming back from Afghanistan? Oh, you're right. That is a massive honour. Okay then, I'll see you tomorrow. Hank, what am I going to do? Have a glass of wine? No, look, Hank, this is serious. This is a massive honour. Well, okay, have a glass of wine. It'll calm you down. Yeah, but, you know, I've got to give these medals out, and you can't just give them the medals. You've got to have a chat first. What am I going to talk to them all about? Well, they're all soldiers, so they'll have interesting jobs. Just ask them what they do. You know what? That might actually work. Great, open the wine. So we did have a glass of two of wine, you know, just to relax, take the edge off. And I woke up in the morning and I was feeling a little bit below par, not quite myself, but that's all right because I'm a professional. I know how to do these things. I had a cup of coffee and I made my way out to the event and I was excited because, you know, I had a plan. I knew what I was going to do. And I went up to the first soldier and I went, all right. The thing that kind of confused him because he was expecting something a tad more formal, but I pushed on. And I said, so, what is it you do? Sir, I'm a driver. Okay, great. And we had a chat about his truck, which was quite big. And then I gave him his medal, shook his hand, moved on to the next guy. So, what is it you do? Sir, I'm a driver. Okay. Turns out, he drove the same kind of truck. Medal, handshake, move on. So, what is it you do? Sir, I'm a driver. You're all drivers, aren't you? Sir, this is a transport squadron. When I get home, I'm going to have a word with that Hank. Anyway, to be fair, they were a lovely bunch of lads and lasses, and they really helped me out. They bounced me down the line. I got almost all the way to the end, and this one soldier says to me, Sir, I'm not a driver. Ah, fantastic. What is it you do? Sir, I'm a co-driver. British Army, best in the world, isn't it? Yeah. And the other thing you've got to say about the British Army is they know how to throw an event. So, you know, we had a nice do afterwards. We had a buffet. It was lovely. They even had pizza. And, you know, a glass of wine. Very nice, very nice. And I left the event and I got home and I found myself kind of pacing up and down, you know, a little bit like a caged meerkat, not really sure what to do with myself. What's the matter, man? Well, I want to have a drink, so have a drink. Yeah, but it's a bit early. Yeah, but you've done well today. You deserve a drink. You know, sometimes you just have to have a glass of wine, don't you? Even if it is 11:30. And sometimes you have to finish the whole bottle before closing time. And when I say closing time, I don't mean the pubs. I mean the schools. Which, I don't know, maybe that makes you think I had a bit of a problem. But I want to be very straight on that front. You know, I never had a problem. Never had an issue. No, what I had was a hankering. You know, like a little hankering, just a hankering for a glass of wine every now and again, possibly every day, and maybe some cheese. But, you know, nothing serious, no problem, no issue, just a little hankering. And anyway, everything else in my life was going really swimmingly. I'd met this wonderful lady, and, you know, we found somewhere to live, we got married, it was going really, really well. We thought, why not? Let's do the family thing. So, you know, we did the family thing. We were really excited about it. And even sitting in a clinical waiting area for 45 minutes didn't beat that out of us. By the time we got into the midwife, we were still excited. We had one of those lovely little chats, and it was all going so nicely. And then the midwife pulled this strange device from her drawer. And I said, oh, I used to have one of those when I was a kid. And she looked at me quite strangely. And I was sort of like getting used to this. And as she started prodding my wife's belly with it, I realised it was not a walkie-talkie. So she's prodding away, and she's looking at it, and she's prodding, she's looking at it, and she's prodding, and she's going, oh, well, these things never work anyway, they're a bit rubbish. But, just to be on the safe side, why don't you pop up the big hospital, get it checked out? So, you know, we popped up the big hospital, get it checked out. We weren't nervous, though, you know, we were still excited. And anyway, she just read that the baby was now the size of an orange. And I said, that's fantastic, because Hank loves vodka and orange. And as we were waiting, you know, it was all fine, nothing to worry about, right? And then they kind of called us in, and I felt this pang of nerves. And as the lights went off, the nerves kind of settled in my stomach. And as she started scanning my wife's belly, the nerves kind of moved up into my chest. And as a look of concern formed on her face, I could feel the nerves in my throat. And by the time she just moved the monitor out of the way, those nerves were in my head. And I just knew that we weren't going to have a baby. I knew that my wife had had a miscarriage. And as we walked out of that room, a better man than me would have tried to say the right thing, would have tried to do the right thing, but I'm not a better man. And I just felt robbed. I just felt like something that I needed had been taken from me. And when we got home, I didn't know how to talk about it, so we just argued about it. And I did the only thing that I knew how to do. I grabbed a bottle of wine, grabbed Hank, and we went for a walk. And we ended up on a park bench. And as I looked out into the darkness, into the drizzle, I had no idea how I'd got there. I didn't know where I'd been, and I had no clue where I was going. And I looked Hank straight in the eye, and I said, what am I doing with my life? And he didn't have an answer. Am I ever going to be a father? Nothing. How do you grieve for a child you never even met? Silence. Which was quite unusual, because Hank wasn't normally that quiet. Normally, You'd have plenty to say. Drink the wine. Eat the cheese. 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 It was like a cheese and wine party hosted by a really manic personal trainer. And he came over the next evening and we had that conversation that we'd had, best part of every day for the last decade. You know, the one that goes a little bit like, you should have a glass of wine. No, I should do the washing up. Leave the washing up. You've had a hard day. You deserve it. So he came round and we had a drink. And this was during what I like to call my halloumi period. It was when I answered one of mankind's age-old questions. How do you improve on cheese? You fry it. Yeah! Halloumi. It's like the thinking man's deep-fried Mars bar. So we were drinking a lot of wine, we were eating a lot of cheese, and we were watching a lot of high-quality television. Now, I don't know whether you've ever been in that position where you're waiting, you're like waiting, you're really waiting, just waiting for police camera action to start. And as we were waiting, we were channel hopping, and we came across this documentary. And in it, they were talking about the brain, and they were explaining how there's two parts to your brain. There's the lower, less evolved bit, the bit that's kind of all about urges, the bit that's most interested in booze and sex and McDonald's. And then there's the other bit, the higher, more evolved part of your brain, the bit that actually makes the decisions. And all of a sudden it kind of all just clicked. I looked down at Hank, and as he looked back and offered me a top-up, that's who you are. Hank is my lower, less evolved brain. He's the one that makes the suggestions. Me, I'm the higher, more evolved bit. I'm the one that actually makes the decisions. He squats in unrepentant savagery in the deep, dark recesses of my skull. And maybe he is my friend. But his advice stinks because it is nothing but urges. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in that position where you know exactly what to do, but for some reason, you just don't do it. That was how I found myself in the local coffee shop, nursing a double espresso. And I had all these thoughts swirling round in my mind. I had all this information. I knew what to do. And it was swirling around, and I was thinking to myself, well, I've got to do something. I need to do something. But what have I got? I know all I've got is Hank. And how's Hank going to help? How's Hank going to help? And in that moment, it was as if the volume in the coffee shop just got turned right down. The clinking glasses, the steaming milk, the chatting patrons, the volume just disappeared. And there was only this feeling. Hank doesn't help. Alcohol doesn't help. They don't solve my problems. They are my problems. And deep, deep down in the well of my spirit, I knew that alcohol had always taken more than it gave. So I walked home with a smile on my face, because now I didn't just know it, I was feeling it as well. So I waited for Hank to come round. He was expecting to have that conversation, the one where I pretend to put up a defence but give in easily. And this time, I thought it might be a little bit different. you should have a drink. But how's that going to help? Well, we always have a drink. Yeah, but how's that going to help? Just the one glass? Yeah, but how's that going to help? I think I need to go and lie down. One question was all it took. One question was all I needed to shut him up. Once I'd accepted that I no longer wanted to drink, once I realized that I no longer needed to drink, then one question was all I needed to make him go away. So I stopped drinking. And shortly after I stopped drinking, an amazing thing happened to me. I woke up early one morning. Yeah, that's it. I woke up early in the morning. I started to discover bits of the day I didn't realize existed. You know, I genuinely thought to be up at 6 in the morning, you had to have stayed up all night. But now I started to, feel all this energy. And I distinctly remember, I don't know whether you've ever had that feeling or not. You know, when you wake up and you're just like totally refreshed, completely relaxed, and you just know that you are not late for anything. Fantastic feeling. And I distinctly remember, the first time I had that. And I woke up and I just wanted to jump out of bed. But luckily I remembered that my bed's on a mezzanine. If I jump out, I'd break my neck. But I got up and I hit that day harder. It was like there was more energy, more spark, more vigor. I was slashing stuff off my to-do list like a manic Victorian explorer hacking his way through the heart of the jungle primeval. It was like there was a couple of extra kilowatts in my battery pack and a couple of extra hours in the day. And I used that time wisely. I invested it. I invested some of it in improving my relationship with my wife. And we even took up a new hobby. We started dancing. Yeah, we learnt the mattress fandango. And it paid off because almost exactly to the day 9 months after I stopped drinking, our daughter Leela was born. And, how do you describe that? It's one of those things, isn't it? It is actually exactly as bad as they tell you it's going to be. But it's also infinitely more beautiful than it's possible to describe. And, she, I don't know, have you ever met that particular type of child? I think there's a particular type, isn't there? The one that sort of ploughs through your life like a demonic bulldozer. The particular type, I think it's all of them. And, she took our carefully constructed reality and turned it into a pile of shattered remains. And that is normal. But there were some things that weren't quite so normal. And we were walking into town one day. And something was just a bit odd. And the lack of sleep, the deluge of hormones, the nagging feeling that our flat was never, ever going to be clean again, that had started to take its effect. And as we were walking into town, I remember it got a little bit frosty. And I'm not talking about the weather. And I looked over at Sarija. We're being followed. Really? Yes. Who would follow us? That window repair van. Really? Yes. Okay, so why would a window repair van be following us? It's my mother. She's trying to point out that if we don't get our windows fixed, Leela is going to get ill. Really ill. Really, really ill. Okay. Unfortunately, I knew that look. Unfortunately, I knew that feeling. Unfortunately, as long as I've known my wife, she's suffered with mental health problems. And maybe there was something that I could have done. Maybe there was something I should have done. But whatever it was, I didn't know it at the time. And it only got worse. And about 6 months after Leela was born, we just had to get away. You know, I had to run. Not like I used to run to the blissful embrace of chocolate when I was a kid, or the numbing freedom of alcohol when I was older. Leela and I just had to create some space. So we went to my parents' house. Now, I love my mother and everything. It's just I'm not that keen on her kitchen. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's lovely, you know, decor's nice, it's well appointed and everything. It's just, there are all these rules. And I haven't figured them out yet. In actual fact, I don't think she's figured all of them out. But what I do know is that I always use the wrong knife. Which is why I was eating a lot of pizza. Pre-cut. Never. Actually, I wasn't eating this pizza, I was staring at this pizza. And part of me was thinking, I don't want this. I don't need this. I feel ill. And then part of me was thinking, yeah, but you've had a hard day. You need a treat. You need something to cheer you up. You're under a lot of stress. You're working so hard. You deserve the pizza. And I looked over, and in the shadows, grinning away, was Hank. He was back. Have you ever been in that situation where you know exactly what to do, but for some reason you don't do it again? So I should have got rid of Hank straight away, but I didn't. I let him hang around and remind me to buy some pizza when I went shopping. And, you know, pretty soon it became obvious to me that I was eating the way I used to drink. And I thought, I've got to do something. I thought to myself, I need a road to Damascus moment. The problem is, I've never been to Damascus. At the time, though, I was going to Boreham Wood a lot. So, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, may I present my road to Boreham Wood moment. So, picture the scene, if you will. M25, traffic jam, and a grin. Yeah, grin. This traffic jam is giving me an opportunity to listen to more of my audiobook. As I was going to Boreham Wood a lot, I was getting a lot of opportunities to listen to audiobooks. And what I did was I had this app on my phone that I got from the local library. And I'd pick a book, and every now and again, these books would randomly appear on my phone, and I'd listen to them in my traffic jams. And I don't know why. I genuinely, to this day, still don't know why, but I picked this book by a guy called T. Colin Campbell called Whole. And it randomly popped onto my phone, so I started listening to it. And in it, he very eloquently explains that if I changed my diet, I could virtually avoid diabetes. And I went, that's good, cool, because, you know, I don't want diabetes. And then he explained that if I changed my diet, I could pretty much guarantee I wouldn't get heart disease. And I went, it's cool, because I don't want heart disease. And then he said, if I changed my diet, I could even pretty much guarantee I'd never get cancer. And I went, cool, because I don't want cancer. You know, I got it on an intellectual level, but I wasn't really buying what he had to sell. And then he started talking about his own life. He started talking about the effects that a whole food, plant-based diet had had on his life. And I thought to myself, blimey, this guy's in his 80s, and he's running 2 miles a day. And I've just turned 40. And I've barely got the energy to drive to Boreham bloody Wood. And I thought, I want a piece of that. I really, genuinely, I want a piece of that. I started to feel it, started to buy into it. So I went to the supermarket and I went crazy. I bought a mango and a bunch of other fruit. And then I bought some broccoli, because Colin Campbell's quite specific about broccoli. And I bought a bunch of other vegetables. And then I bought some whole grains and some pulses and some beans. And I realised I'd only been to about 15% of the supermarket. I sort of looked around and went, actually, what's the rest of this place for? And as I went off to the freezer section to grab some peas, there was, you forgot the pizza. Yeah, but how's that going to help? What about some ice cream? Yeah, but how's that going to help? Some cookies? Yeah, but how's that going to help? Just the one? How's that going to help? I'm starting to worry about you. So what I realised that day was, if you want to walk away from the pizza, you must first walk away from Hank. So I went howl for vegan leather substitute into a whole food plant-based diet, and I lost weight. And that's what people tend to talk about when they talk about diets, isn't it? I lost weight. Great. But so what? You know, I lost weight. So what? See, the thing is, that wasn't even close to being the best benefit of it. What really struck me was the amount of peace and tranquility that entered my life at that point. You know, what I realised was that I'd spent my whole life chasing chocolate, chasing alcohol, chasing pizza. It was like I'd spent my life running after a train that was just out of reach. And that is pretty stressful. So when I removed all of that from my life, this peace and tranquility descended on me. And that genuinely is the greatest gift I have ever received. And, you know, if I can share a little bit of that with you this evening, that would make me incredibly happy. Of course, I don't want to kind of like make it sound like my life is perfect and everything, but, you know, my wife is well, and my daughter is pretty cute. And, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy. And I'm not happy because I'm having pizza for dinner this evening. You know, if I did have pizza for dinner this evening, I'd be happy. But if I didn't have pizza, I'd still be happy, because it's not about the pizza. Not anymore. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, that sounds all right. Some of you are maybe thinking, that sounds fantastic. Some of you are doubtless thinking, yeah, but to stop drinking and to give up junk food, you need willpower, self-control, wrought iron, Olympic ninja discipline. That's what we've been told. That's what we've been told. The beautiful truth, though, is you don't. You know, we're constantly being told that alcohol makes you merry, that drugs get you high, that junk food is comforting. But the beautiful truth is that stopping makes you merry. Stopping gets you high. Stopping is comfort. And it's a whole lot easier than you've been led to believe. In fact, all you need are three things. So first, you've got to identify the Hank in your head. You've got to accept that there is a part of your brain that makes suggestions. But you've also got to understand there's only a part of your brain. There's another part that actually makes the decisions. Hank makes the suggestions, but you're the one that actually decides. And once you've accepted that he's there, you're ready for step 2. You've got to name Hank. Now, you don't have to call him Hank, obviously. You know, it doesn't have to be a male name. It doesn't even have to be a human name. You're intelligent, creative people. Go wild. But just give it a name, because if you give it a name, you're very clear about who you're dealing with. So once you've done that, you're ready for the third step. And that is to ask Hank a question. Now, I asked him, how's that going to help? And that will work. And let's face it, it's fairly easy to remember. But you can create a more bespoke question if you want. You could think about what's most important to you in your life. That might be around your relationships. So you might say, well, how's that going to help me become a better parent or partner? It might be around your mental or physical health. So you might say to yourself, well, how's that going to help me run this 10K? Or it might be to do with your job or your business or other kind of opportunities. You might say something along the lines of, well, how's that going to help me reach my goals for 2022? So accept that you have a Hank, give him a name, and ask him a question. And with that particular piece of information, let's revisit my pizza party earlier and let's see what was actually going on. Hi, I'm Duncan. Hello, Duncan, would you like some pizza? Tasty, tasty pizza. Yeah, but Hank, I've got to go up on stage after lunch and I've got to speak to these people. How's pizza going to help me? But they've even got the one with the vegan cheese that you like. Yeah, but, how's that going to fill me full of authenticity and vitality and strength and happiness? We could have one slice. Yeah, but Hank, how's it going to help me rock the stage? I'm going to go and stand in the corner again. So identify your Hank, give him a name, ask him a question. And if you can do that, instead of filling your life full of cake and pizza and chocolate and cheese and wine, you can fill your life with Morris dancing! Well, if you want to. But, the Morris dancing is just a proxy, isn't it? For me, it stands for community and friendship and family and energy and vitality and rude health and peace and freedom and joy. See, for me, energy plus focus equals Morris dancing. But maybe not for you, and that's okay, And that's the really exciting thing. What does energy plus focus equal for you? See, I don't know, but you do. And that's the really, really exciting thing, because if you can fill your life full of energy and focus, then who knows what you can achieve? You can become the person that you want to be. You can become the person that you need to be. You can become the goal-smashing, joy-spreading human being that you were born to be.